As you can probably tell, today's weather is a bit rough. I don't know why I'm standing out in the rain doing this intro to the video, but yeah, I'm doing it, so we're just going to go along with it. So we have a total of 5 jobs today. 3 of them will be at a garage, so I cannot record. 2 of them will be at customers' addresses. So we're going to head off to the first one, around about 9:15. Slept in a wee bit this morning, so we should get there for around about 9:30. Of course, today's weather isn't the best. We're getting around about 25 mile per hour winds and 95% chance of rain, so I don't know how well this mic will cut all of that out, but we're going to try our best. We're just going to go along with it. Today's jobs, I'm not really sure what they are, to be honest. I can't remember. I would need to look back on the notes, but yeah, this is just the intro to the video. I'm going to head off to the first one, so it should be about maybe about half an hour drive, and I'll see you once I'm there. Hopefully this rain kind of calms down a wee bit. If not, we can do the majority of the stuff using the Bluetooth scan tool in the back of the van, and then if we need to do any tests, we're just going to need to get wet or get the waterproofs on, either way. But yeah, I'll see you at the first job right about now. Okay, so this is a Renault Kadjar. Customer complaint with this one is a very intermittent engine management light on. So we're just going to insert the key, do a health scan on it. I was here before checking another vehicle for this customer, and he asked me to have a look at this, but unfortunately he'd already had the stored faults cleared, so I didn't really have anything to go on. And like I said, it's very intermittent. I don't even know if it's on just now. I'm not going to start it up because you get a wee bit of interference through this mic. But yeah, let's get the Top Down Smart put on it and get a health scan done. So what I'm going to do is just click enter, read DTC. Oh my god, look at that. Exhaust air flap component blocked. Clutch switch, signal consistency, signal incoherence. I'm not interested in this one. Not interested in this one. But this one again, exhaust flap, like we had on the Nissan on the previous video. Exhaust air flap component blocked. So it looks like we have got the same issue, possibly, with the exhaust flap not moving. Now, whether this is a job for today, I don't really know, to be really honest. This might get moved because I don't fancy lying on the floor getting absolutely drenched when I've got quite a lot of other work to get on. Now, like the previous video, if you haven't watched that, go and give it a watch. I'll leave a thumbnail here. We're working on a 2020 Nissan Duke or a Nissan Qashqai. Can't remember what one it was, but it was one of the two. The customer complaint with that was an intermittent engine management light on as well. Now, the issue with that one is that it was basically sticky, so it was stuck, and I had to free that off. So I had to take the actuator or the motor off and manually move it with my hand, give it a little bit of lubricant spray, and touch wood, it's been alright ever since. So I haven't heard back for that customer apart from I've left my torch in a driveway, so I will need to go back to that and get it. Right, so I've done the usual. I have removed the exhaust air flap, the 2 Torx bolts that holds it to the exhaust, and just done, you know, back and forth. Didn't want to be repetitive. Obviously my last video was covering that issue, so yeah, that's all I've done, is basically just do the same as what I've done in that video. If you want to go and watch that, it'll make more sense. But yeah, the exhaust flap was just kind of rusty, sticking in the usual bit. So I freed that off, put a bit of lubricant spray in it, again, this is just initial assessment, so I would advise a customer that, you know, we've done what we think's going to sort it for now, but long term it might not last and it might need a new exhaust section. So yeah, what I'm going to do is move on to the next one. This first one was a bit of a bust, to be honest, because I wasn't expecting the same issue as the previous video. But we're going to move on to a Fiesta. Now this Fiesta is suffering with hazard warning failure, indicator lights not working, airbag light on, multiple electronic issues. So we're going to head over there. It's about 20-minute drive, 25-minute drive, and we're going to get that one diagnosed for that customer today. So I'm just going to pack up all my stuff and I'll see you there. And we have arrived at our next one, which is this Fiesta ST. Don't know what year this is, but it's not the Mark, I think it's a Mark 6, probably a 2008-9 or something. So I'll spin you around and I'll show you what's happening. So the radio's out at the moment for some reason, I don't know why, but put on the indicators. We've got nothing internal or external happening, and I don't know if you'll notice it as well, we've got a flickering airbag light, which the customer said has been like that for a little while. So we're going to get the top down plugged into it. It is still raining, so I'm going to do the health scan in the back of the van. So next time you see me, we'll be doing a health scan. There we are, right there. 2005 Fiesta, 3-door, 2 litre, manual transmission. What I'm going to do is shut this door over, because the noise of the wind is doing my head in. So that's the vehicle right there. That is correct. So we want to connect. So we haven't got much here. We've got body control module, ABS, restraints control module, PCM. So I'm just going to do high speed scan. So we've got one in the PCM, one in the GEM, and 3 in the restraints control module. So the PCM, we've got OBD readiness not complete, not interested in that. In the body side, we've got door ajar, not interested in that. RCM, we've got module configuration fault, airbag circuit open loop 2, passenger side. So I'll need to ask the customer if anything's been done with this before, but we have got a configuration fault in there which we might need to rectify with another tool. But I mean, I don't expect much to be in here for hazards, indicators, etc. I might need to just fire up HGS and look through a diagram. So I've got the actuation test. It is an earlier vehicle, so like I said, might not have much. So it's got hazards. Can we actuate that? I think because I've shut the door, I've maybe interrupted communication with MDCI. But we've got the VIN number there anyway. I'm going to use that data for going into HGS and checking the schematic for the hazards. Right, so we're in the car now and we are looking at the hazard switch. Now pin 3 is a black and orange tracer, which hopefully if it focuses you can see there, black and orange tracer. Now I've got my OTC test lamp and all I need to do is tap this once. Now my OTC test lamp is connected to a ground. So I'm going to try this one-handed if I can. So if I can try and tap pin 3. So I don't know if you'll hear that, but the tone and instrument cluster for the hazards has just come on. But unfortunately we haven't got any exterior lighting at all. So we've got no external lights working. So if I show you here, you can see hazards are not working. Now to turn that off, all I need to do is just tap it again. So that is the hazards now off. So we know that this wire right here, pin 3, once we give that a ground, the body controller is more or less telling the hazards and instrument cluster that it's been recognised. But there's nothing at all outputting on the instrument cluster or the exterior. So it looks like we could have a faulty body controller, but I'm just going to run through another couple of wee simple tests, simple checks first before confirming that. Now, we obviously don't need to do the same test on the indicator stock because that's there at the moment. I do not know where he's put the hazard switch, so that's why I've done that through my test lamp. But you can hear, hopefully, through the mic, that once we move that up or down, it is, you know, it is capable, or the body control module is recognising that that's getting grounded out because it's turning on the noise, I should say, the actual flasher. So this could be a faulty gem. I think it's going to be worthwhile doing some tests direct at the body controller and seeing where we go for there, I think. Right, so the indicator fault on this Fiesta ST is indeed the body controller, which I've suspected anyway, to be honest with you. Now, the way that I tested this, or I tested the bulbs I should say, is I just powered them up directly at the BCM with the BCM unplugged. All the bulbs light up, so I'm going to show you that just on the 2 rear bulbs. So I'll spin you around to the wiring diagrams right in front of me and I'll show you what we're going to do quickly. Right, so you can see the 2 marked in red, pin 6 and pin 1 is our turn signal lamp, rear right and rear left. I'll try and balance that out, it's a bit difficult. So those 2 right there are the ones that we're going to be showing on camera. We've done all the rest of them, pin 6 and pin 7. They all passed, so pretty happy with that. In here is our gem module. I'm going to put the mic up a little bit further. So in there is our body control module, or gem as Ford call it, and the wires that we're interested in testing at the moment is the blue with red tracer and the one just below that. So if we apply power to those 2, I'll take you around the back and you'll be able to see that the bulbs light up. Now these haven't got any LED bulbs or anything in them that could be causing problems, which is good. So what I'm going to do is just apply my probe into the first one right there. Hopefully that doesn't fall out. You can see our bulb is lighting up. Now if I go into the one just below that, try to do this with one hand is actually pretty difficult. You can see our other side lights up as well. Now all the inputs going into the body control module are good, so we can rule that out. This needs a used gem or a new one, probably a used one. So I'm going to advise the customer to get a hold of one of them But apart from that, everything else is alright. We need to look into the airbag fault a bit more kind of in depth. He says he's had the crash data done on it or something, and now it's come up with a configuration fault, which is obviously not good. So I'm going to get everything built back up in relation to the indicator fault, get the number off of the body control module for the customer, and I'm also going to dig a wee bit deeper into the SRS module configuration fault. So let me have a wee look into the SRS fault and I'll come back to you if I have any updates on that. Right, last job of today. It's actually not 6:30, it's 5:30, that's an hour fast. We have got a Freelander, as you can see there, 2013 plate. Customer complaint with this one is no throttle response, or sometimes he gets a little throttle, but as of now nothing is happening with the throttle. So the fault codes that we've got: P06D, internal control module accelerator pedal position performance; P164, internal control module start stop performance. Both intermittent faults. I'll show you what I've done to more or less figure this issue out. So you can see we've got our accelerator pedal position sensor D and our accelerator pedal position sensor circuit E. Both of them, that one is reading 0 right now, so that should be mirror image at the moment, so we know that something's not right there. Now, I've already brought up HGS data and I'm going to run you through the tests that we've done to actually locate where this fault is. So our accelerator pedal is currently off. As you can see, it's just held on with 3 nuts, and if I move the top down just so you can see, and what I'm going to do is put it on graphing mode, and you'll see only one of them moves. See, that goes up to 65. The opposite one should be mirror imaging that as well, but that's doing absolutely nothing. So I'm going to show you the diagram on HGS, and we'll run through the wiring checks that you can do on this. So I'm using the amp clamp just because it's easy enough to get to. So on our first wire here we should have, if I try and get into it properly, so I've manoeuvred my ground there. You can see we've got a 5 volt reference, hopefully you can see that. Our next wire is the change, so you can see there we've got 0.4. So as I was to move that pedal down, so if I was to move that pedal down, that voltage would change. So that's a working one, as you've seen there, the 8%. If we go into our next one, got close to nothing, millivolts. So that should be, the third one in, should be the circuit E, which isn't changing. But as I went to check the rest of the wires, I noticed on the black and grey we've got 11.1 volts. So all this fault is down to is a bad ground. So what I'll do is I'll give this a ground and you'll be able to see the change on the screen there. So I've got this other end here on a good ground, and if you just watch when I apply it, so we're connected on a ground now, and you can see we have got 7%, we've got 8% on that one, and if I was to move the pedal up and down, basically it would work, the fault clears. So if we go back in here, it's permanent at the moment. If I move that up and down, so I'll just move the pedal up and down, it will let me clear the fault codes. It's went to intermittent now, as you can see there. So we've went to intermittent because we have given pin 4 a ground. So that is pin 4 right there. Hopefully you can see that. So pin 4 is right here, and we've given that a ground. So we're missing a ground from the accelerator pedal, and I'm going to use all data to locate where that ground is. Now our ground is G3D135, and as you can see there, that is at the passenger side. So we need to take the passenger side seat out, part of the carpet, and yeah, we'll be able to locate that G3D135. It might not even be corroded there, it might be within the harness, it might be broke, so we might need to rewire it, we don't know. But I'm going to inspect the ground point anyway, just in case it's something as simple as that, it's broke off or something, and we'll take things for there. Well, unfortunately the grounds underneath the seat are absolutely fine, so it looks like I'm going to need to reground this, unfortunately. So that is our wire there, black with a grey tracer, and I've load tested that. That ground is absolutely perfect, you can just tell by looking at it, it's spotless. So we have got an issue within the harness itself, so I'm going to need to reground it and road test it, make sure everything's all good. So we have success, we have built everything back up, took it for a run, it's back to full power, we're no longer in limp mode. What I ended up doing was just basically splicing into the ground and running my own ground to it. Now where I've took the ground is just basically a plate behind the accelerator pedal. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, it's all cloth taped up so you probably won't, but literally it's up there somewhere. It's a good ground, it's been tested. It's just unfortunate we couldn't locate, you know, where exactly the failure was in the loom. That would probably mean taking dashes out and all these panels and all that, so not really worth doing that on this car. It is, I think it's a 13 plate, so not going to whip a dash out to find a bad ground in the wiring harness. I'm taking it's probably going to be in a splice connector or something like that. It's maybe failed, or it's been rubbing somewhere and it's just became open circuit. I do not know, but as far as I can see, the clutch switch, see there's two diagrams for this. The ground apparently on one diagram shares basically the ground for the accelerator pedal also shares the same ground with the clutch pedal and the brake pedal, but the other diagram shows that to be different. It's just a straight ground, so for the accelerator. So just need to, you know, monitor it for here. Clutch and everything's working, the clutch switch is fine, brake switch is fine. You know, the main issue, which was no acceleration or very limited acceleration, is now gone because of a very strange issue, a bad ground. I've never had that on one of these. I thought it would have been the pedal, to be honest, but just with having 9 volts on the ground there, you could see it didn't have a path back to chassis. So yeah, we are on to a winner. I'll just show you what the readings should be on a good one. So I've got the top down connected up, and I'll just turn you guys around. So we've got the ignition on at the moment. You can see we've got 8% on circuit D, and we've got close enough to 8% on circuit E. Now if I floor the pedal all the way down, you can see we have got 64% in the top, 62 in the bottom, so a 2% difference. Come down, so basically close enough to a mirror image each other. Sorry, not a mirror image, close enough to, you know, being the same value. Obviously circuit E was 0%, circuit D was 8%, and it was reading fine. So you can see there we're close enough to be exact, which is good. So I'm going to leave that one here, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed that. This video was a wee bit different from the rest. It was more just a kind of day in the life, I want to say. But you know, we got through what we needed to get through. We actually, how many jobs did we do today? I think it was 5. So we done, I think it was 3 off camera, 2 on camera, or maybe the other way about. It was 3 on camera and 2 off camera. I'm not too sure, but doesn't matter anyway. Thanks for watching. Like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.